It's time for another sports night, and you don't want to pass on your chance to see all the celebrations. Get your best dance moves ready, because this season is winding up, and we're pushing all the way to the finish. Sports Night is next. Hello everyone, welcome to Sports Night. I'm Joe Yund, and our snowy start to this week means I'm flying solo. Shapiro not going to risk the treacherous drive in through rush hour to be with us, unfortunately, but we'll have a lot of fun without him, and that's just the way it will be. A lot of stuff happening, and we again are getting very close to the end of the winter season. Just a couple of weeks left for a couple of teams, and then they will be heading into playoffs before we know it. Boys hockey team is where we start. The Cardinals are really in the heart of their season and trying to find a way to get some victories in the very tough Northwest Suburban Conference. Couldn't do it on Thursday against Spring Lake Park. They lose to the Panthers 5-2. Kirby Pieri and Tyler George had the goals for the Cardinals. Danny Protas made 33 saves for Coon Rapids in net, but they come up losers in a 5-2 loss. On Saturday, the Cardinals on the road faced division-leading Iredale, a team coming off a week's rest. The Knights had won 5 in a row and 7 of 8 before losing to a division opponent for the first time the previous Saturday. They'd had a lot of time to think about it, and they'd be coming out eager to get back on the winning track. Knights keep the pressure on the Cardinals throughout the first period, and it finally pays off. Ryan Soul steps up, steals an ill-advised pass, carries it in, weaves his way back out front, tucks it in behind Protas, puts Irondale up 1-0 after one. Soul strikes again early in the second. Knights on the attack. Tyler Escrow knocked off the puck, but Soul's filling the lane, able to put it home relatively easily, making a 2-0 lead. Cardinals get one back midway through the second. Jake Van Holzen drops it for Ryan Corey. His shot is stopped. Everyone crashes the net. Corey able to get the rebound home before Van Holzen is drilled into the net. The goal will count. Corey's first varsity goal makes it 2-1 after one. Early in the third, Irondale trying to hold the zone. Michael Crosby able to get it loose out at center, carry it into the zone on a 2-on-1. He'll snap it over the keeper's glove hand, and this game is tied at 2. Both teams had chances in regulation, but both keepers come up big. Danny Protas, definitely the star of the game for the Cardinals, coming up with several big stops on grade A chances for Irondale. That includes in overtime Knights, a 2-on-1, Nate Foley alone out front, but Protas shuts him down. Unfortunately, the Knights convert on the ensuing faceoff. Daniel Foley gets it off the draw, fires it just off the inside part of the far post. Division-leading Knights avoid the upset, get away with a 3-2 win in overtime. It was a fun game. It was nice to see the Cardinals come back and really battle. And after they scored the tying goal, they had the Knights on their heels for a good chunk of that third period. But then, Irondale, to their credit, able to get the momentum back on their side and really put some pressure on, and finally able to get one past Protas, who has done a very admirable job. Again, the Cardinals down to just 2 goaltenders for both varsity and JV. Protas and Connor Wise, the sophomore, who's playing in net for junior varsity. No word yet on when Argyros will be able to come back after the concussion. They're hoping maybe sometime this week, but we will just have to keep our fingers crossed that he comes back and is able to come back strong. The boys will host Southwest Christian Richfield on Thursday, and then Armstrong Cooper on Saturday. Girls hockey team opened last week hosting Irondale, team struggling near the bottom of the division standings. The division-leading Bluebirds eyeing the last few weeks of the schedule, knowing they need a strong finish to maintain their spot atop the Northwest Suburban West. They blanked the Knights the first time around and were certain they could control the action once again. Bluebirds start the scoring early, just 3 minutes in. Delaney Johnson digs it off the boards, walks out front, snipes it upper right. Johnson's team leading 15th goal of the season. Top line strikes again late in the first period. Off the faceoff, Brazier plays it toward the net. Keeper misses the cover, and Mackenzie Baker comes to jam it home. Not quite as pretty, but it counts. Bluebirds up 2-0. Irondale not getting many chances at all in this one. CPCR allows just 3 shots on goal in the first period, 14 in the game. Emma Fagerly, the chance there. Shuck makes it look easy on her way to her 6th shutout of the year. Knights keeper Lexi Olson, one of the stars of the game. She stopped 41 of the 43 shots she saw, kept Irondale in it, but Micah Sutherland got the late empty net goal from her own end. That seals the victory. Bluebirds win 3-0. And when you put 43 shots on goal, you're kind of hoping to get more than 2 against that keeper, and it had to go down into the empty net situation. So credit to Irondale for keeping the Bluebirds, or keeping themselves in the game against the Bluebirds despite being miserably outshot, and certainly credit to their keeper for keeping them in and giving them a chance to win at the end. Girls hockey team on Saturday taking on the Anoka Tornadoes, and they were in for a tough battle in this one. They did come out the winners 2-1 over the Tornadoes. Sweet and Delaney Johnson had the goals. Bailey Shuck made 29 saves. Gave up just the 1 goal to get the win. The Bluebirds now 13-6 overall, 10-3 in division play. And just like 4 or 5 games remaining on their schedule this week, they host Buffalo on Thursday, Elk River on Saturday, and Elk River will be a very strong test for this very good Bluebird team. Wrestling team, we've talked about it the last couple of weeks. This is a little bit different season for the Cardinals. Some things happening that we have not really seen from this program over the years, and here's another one. They took on the Blaine Bengals on Thursday, and I believe this is the first time in the 20 years we've been covering Cardinal sports that the Bengals were able to overcome the mighty Cardinals. They win 34-27. Cardinals win 6 of the 14 matches. Gabe DeGris at 126 with a 6-1 decision. Moise Medimba won with a major decision at 145. Isaiah Thompson had a tech fall. Lucas Partlow a 7-1 decision at 220. And Leighton got a pin at 281, the only pin of the evening for the Cardinals. Fortunately, they were able to bounce back, come in strong against Eastview in the Eastview Invitational on Saturday. They had 18. Most of the brackets only had eight guys in them, but they had some that had 12. It was kind of a weird tournament the way it worked. But a number of places. Nick Berg getting a championship at 195, went 3-0 with a pin. Thompson at 152 was in second place, 3-1 with a pin and a tech ball. Aaron Caswell, John Spobany, Joe Robin, Moza Medimba, and Marcus Moore at 285, all getting third place finishes. They had a couple of fourth place finishes and a fifth place finish as well. So a number of guys doing very, very well. And we're getting to the point in the season for the wrestling team where some of these tournaments, not all of the top guys are wrestling because they're looking at match count, make sure that they'll still have room on in their season to face those tough battles toward the end of the season. The Cardinals are at Buffalo on Thursday. They will be at Elk River next Thursday. And Elk River, another Northwest suburban team that has really come up very strong the last couple of years. I believe they beat the Cardinals either last year or the year before. So the Cardinals will have to be on their game, make sure that they can come away with a victory over the Elks. But Buffalo first, that comes up this Thursday. We'll have those results for you next week on Sports Night. The gymnastics team we talked about last week, finally getting to that 130 mark. Didn't quite get there in last week's match, but another nice score, a 129.175. It's not enough to beat Champlin, who scored almost 140 in that match, but still a great score for them. They continue to be consistent in scoring around that 130 mark. They're hoping to surpass it again before the season is over and maybe build up a few more points. Some of the top finishers: Cassie Rushmeyer, 4th in the vault. Hannah Gross, 5th on bars and 6th on beam. Rachel Dieters was 3rd on the floor. Hannah Gross was their top finisher all around with a 4th place finish, 33.20. Rachel Dieters right behind her with a 32.175. For the gymnastics squad, they're at Irondale tonight, and then they're at Centennial a week from Friday. So tonight's match against Irondale will hopefully have results for you next week on Sports Night. Swimming and diving team with a very busy week last week. 2 duels against conference opponents, then the True Team section tournament on Saturday. It started on Tuesday with a visit from Champlin Park. This was an incredibly close meet that could have easily gone either way. Unfortunately, all the close races went in favor of the visiting Rebels, and so did the meet. Cardinals 200 medley relay is very strong, and it has helped them get a lead in the first event of several meets this season. Matt Struss starts it off with the backstroke. Andrew Trong handles the breaststroke portion of the race. Tyler Schultz takes care of the butterfly, and senior captain Patrick Schultz brings it home with the freestyle. Cardinals win the race against Champlin with a 149.25. The Rebels finished 1-2 in the 200 free, but 8th grader Tyler Schultz gets back to the top of the podium with an outstanding race in the 200 individual medley. Gets to the wall in 2 minutes 11.38 seconds, more than 13 seconds ahead of second place. 50 freestyle is one of those super close finishes. Matt Struss with a strong race, but he's going to get out-touched at the wall by just 5/100ths of a second. There were 6 races decided by just 1.65 seconds total. All of them went to Champlin Park, and it was the difference in the meet. Freshman diver Jack Simmer continues to impress, nails the double somersault there on his way to a first place finish with a 180.05, but the Cardinals lose a nail-biter 96-90. On Thursday, the Cardinals were back at it, this time facing off against their poolmate and arch rival, the Blaine Bengals. Cardinals have overtaken the Bengals when it comes to sheer numbers, but Blaine is still a more established team with more strength at the top. While the Cardinals couldn't keep pace in this one, they did serve notice to the Bengals to watch their backs for this strong up-and-coming squad. Coon Rapids again able to get an early lead thanks to their strong 200 medley relay team. Struss, Strong, Schultz, and Schultz able to overcome an early gap, and Patrick Schultz able to bring it home in the freestyle portion of the race and get the Cardinals the win in 1 minute 48.85 seconds, about a half second faster than they were against Champlin. Tyler Schultz got the Cardinals win in the 200 freestyle. Matt Struss and Andrew Trong both swim strong in event number 3. While they can't keep pace with Blaine's Darren Cronin, they're able to finish together, taking second and third in the 200 IM, keep the Cardinals close. Blaine's depth would eventually win out, but the Cardinals get a couple more blue ribbons from their young leaders. 8th grader Schultz finished first in the 100 butterfly in 58.90, his second individual win of the night. Freshman Matt Struss sets the pace in the 100 breaststroke. He gets to the wall in 1 minute 11.01 seconds. Cardinals with some nice races, but the Bengals able to coast to the win, 100-81. The final in that one. We were there for that and able to sit and chat a bit with Coach Doug Donaldson during the diving portion, although they had 13 guys diving, and so they went rather fast, and we did step on a couple of dives. We apologize for that, but talking to him is always interesting, and he's so excited about the guys that he has, the numbers he has, the enthusiasm that he sees from the guys he has in the pool, the relatively new squad, and the amount of quality, skill, talent, and again, enthusiasm they bring into the pool, and their drive to continue to get better is really, I mean, his excitement, his enthusiasm is definitely infectious, and that is a big part of the reason why this team is growing by leaps and bounds from something like 23 last year to 36 this year. So that is great news, and it was really nice to sit down with them. They had the True Team on Saturday, and while they did finish 7th place, they improved their score by, I want to say it was like 200 or 300 points from last year. They were only 100 points behind 6th place this year, versus last year they were, again, 200 or 300 points back. So that shows dramatic improvement, even though the place itself doesn't show that. They are making those gains. And if you look at it, you got the freshman Matt Struss, you got the 8th grader Tyler Schultz, who are grabbing your top finishes. Andrew Trong, I think, is a junior, but I could be wrong. He might only be a sophomore, but I think he's a junior. Jack Simmer, a freshman, first-year diver, and he's doing great things for him. Patrick Schultz, the only senior in that lineup of top finishers. He was 11th in the 500 free. A couple of medleys, or a couple of relays that finished well. The 400 free relay finished 5th. 200 medley relay finished 7th. And that was another thing that Coach Donaldson mentioned in his weekly email when he sent me results, he said one of the best things about this is not only did they have those huge improvements in their scores from last year's True team, even though it didn't get them up a place, those huge improvements in scores, but all of their scoring relays, none of them finished last, and that was something he was very excited about as well. Big week for the swimming and diving team this week. They're at Armstrong on Thursday, and this is one that, they kind of circle on the calendar, one of the teams toward the bottom of the rankings. And again, they want to come away with some wins against those lesser teams in the Northwest Suburban, hopefully keep themselves out of the last place battle when it comes to the Northwest Suburban Conference tournament. They will be in Cambridge Isani for an invitational on Saturday. Well, whether you like the winter weather we have received all day Monday, and who knows how much we're going to end up with, could be anywhere from 6 inches to 2 feet, depending on where you are in the metro. No matter how you and I feel about it, I think the Nordic team is pretty excited to finally have a serious snowfall that will give them a chance, hopefully, to ski on real snow. They did compete in a Northwest Suburban Classic race last week where the boys finished in 3rd place. And this is another team, very young, doing their damage with the young guys. Jared Heide, just a sophomore, finished 5th. Ricky Petroff, a freshman that went to state as an 8th grader last year, he finished in 7th. Nick Jorgensen is a junior, finished in 25th. Miles Gilliard in 30th, and Joe Thoen finished in 33rd. Girls finished in 2nd place. Abby Ellenbecker, 2nd place. Olivia not far back in 6th place. Maddie Karen finished in 9th, so 3 in the top 10. Izzy Haberman finished 11th, and Lila Gilliard finished in 14th. A really nice race for them, and they are really primed to make a push in the section and conference championships, which are right around the corner. They do have a pursuit coming up this week. On Tuesday, they'll have the classic portion of it at Elm Creek, and on Wednesday, they'll be at Baker National Park for the freestyle portion of that pursuit race. We'll have those results for you next week on Sports Night. Alpine Racing has their 5th race coming up this week. Last week, race number 4. And both boys and girls finished in 7th place. For the boys, Reed Smith, the top finisher, in 28th place, just a couple of ticks over a minute flat. Hawkinson finished in 35th in 103.45. Jacob Sides was 45th. Nico Tweedy was 49th, and Gino Smith was in 68th. For the girls, also 7th place, Emma Bolin, a little off of her typical pace, finished in 11th in 1 minute 13.15 seconds. For Beek was in 41st. Ezherskov right behind her in 44th. Robidoux in 47th, and Hattie Bio finished in 63rd place. They will be at their home slopes at Trollhagen on Thursday for the 5th and final race of the regular season. Then they've got a couple of weeks off. The Section 7 championships will be held Tuesday, the 6th of February. Boys basketball team entered last week's play looking to bounce back after 2 disappointing losses the week before. On Tuesday, they welcomed the Andover Huskies to the Fieldhouse, a team struggling to keep pace since the loss of their scoring leader in late December. Huskies were just 2-4 in their previous 6 games, but were still competing well with some of the top teams in the conference, so it certainly wasn't going to be easy. Slow start for both teams. Cardinals didn't score until 3 minutes in. Marshall Holland driving, drawing contact, started a big night for the Cardinals junior captain. Game's pace picked up dramatically after that. We saw some great assists. Watch a bounce pass from Marcel Winston. Zach Hussein scores underneath. Andover answers immediately. Brad Chasteen weaving his way to the lane. An amazing dish to Colin Hartle for the easy basket. Andover up 9-6 at that point. Then the home team takes over and starts with defense. Hussein, a great steal to Sayers. To Winston, back to Hussein. He finishes. Hussein had 14 points off the bench, part of a 14-2 run that put Coon Rapids in control. Andover cut into the lead before the break. Shai Sayers hits a 3 from way outside the arc. Still, it's just a 1-point game going to the break. Coon Rapids up 29-28. Coon Rapids starts strong in the second half. Starts to pull away. Fast break. Winston to Holland behind the defense. He led all scorers with 17. Cardinals build a 15-point lead. Huskies get back within single digits. That's as close as the Cardinals let him get. Sayers with a steal, the end-to-end rush. He had 9 points in the game as the Cardinals win 60-49. And that's important for the Cardinals. Right at the 500 mark after the win over Andover, and those are those games against other teams in the middle of the Northwest Suburban where they have to prove themselves. They have to be able to get through the adversity, and that game against Andover saw some of that up and down throughout the game. They had some spurts where they really didn't score, didn't finish well, and then they had some spurts where they did everything very well. And it all, again, starts with the defense for this team, and then they like to push the ball, use their pace to get behind the defense, and that worked out for them against Andover. It also worked out for them on Friday night when they took on the Centennial Cougars. They beat the Cougars 76-69 on the road. Look at the numbers for Marcel Winston. 28 points, 8 boards, 6 assists. Elijah McGrath, who was in foul trouble the whole game against Andover, bounces back with a 19-point effort against the Cougars. Marshall Holland had just 6 points, but he did grab 10 boards, and that is a big thing for this Cardinal team. If they want to get kind of over that hump against some of these teams in the middle, they need to be able to rebound the ball a little bit better. Sean Smith, Braden Farley, and Zach Hussein also each had 6 points in the contest. Cardinals will be tested this week. They host Osseo on Tuesday and then travel to Elk River on Friday. Girls basketball team coming into the second half of the season really hoping they can finish stronger than they've started. Last week, the Cardinals trying to build off a win over Spring Lake Park. On Tuesday, they traveled to take on Andover, a team with just 2 wins on the season, but both against division opponents. Cardinals still winless in the division, saw it as an opportunity to finally get rid of the goose egg in the standings. Being aggressive and controlling the boards, big key to success for these Cardinals. Courtney Ackerman gets the offensive rebound, then gets it back and knocks down the three-pointer from the corner. It's a tight game early on. Andover on the run in the first half. Sydney White will hit the little floater, part of a team-high 16-point effort for her. Huskies lead by 2. Cardinals start to take control after that. Courtney Ackerman with a great feed to Lainey Hanneman at the back door. She gets the easy basket. Coon Rapids in front 15-10. Cardinals flying end-to-end. They find Ellie Carver behind the defense underneath. She turns and scores. Carver had a game-high 21 points against Andover. Brooklyn Dixon with a nice night as well, creating off the dribble. She hits the little jumper in the paint. Coon Rapids on top 36-21 at the half. And they don't let up in the second. Dixon again, this time with room to the baseline. Drives and scores, plus the foul. Dixon finished with 11 in the game. Dixon one more time. Draws the defense, then dish to Destiny Artis. Artis takes it to the hole, gets the bucket and the foul. Cardinals able to cruise to the 59-37 win. And, that's a big win. They needed it desperately against a team, another team that's been struggling. Unfortunately, they then ran into a highly ranked Centennial team on Friday night, and the Cougars flipped the script on them. Similar score in the other direction. The Cougars beat the Cardinals 57-38. Still, Cardinals hanging around that 500 mark at 7-8, but just 1-5 in the district or in the division, and that is something I know that bothers them. Something they would like to change. They have an opportunity this week. They're at Osseo, an Osseo team on Tuesday that has only won 1 game this season. They've had a lot of struggles and the Cardinals, again, look at them like they did Andover. It's a team that's struggling. We have to go in and be able to keep them down. We can't let them get their kind of confidence booster against us. So that should be an interesting one, and Howie and I will be there on Tuesday night. Live coverage starts on CTN at 7 o'clock. They will host Elk River on Saturday. That was as much as we could possibly get you in 1 week of Sports Night, and as quickly as we could do it. Obviously, the show not quite as complete without my compadre, Howie Shapiro, but hope to have him back for the rest of the week. On Tuesday, we'll be at Osseo for the girls' basketball game, Cardinals against the Orioles. Live coverage starts at 7. Boys hockey on Saturday. It's a matinee event at the Crick. Cardinals taking on the Wings from Armstrong Cooper. We'll see the girls basketball team again next Tuesday as they take on the Blaine Bengals in that border battle. But that's going to do it for this edition of CTN Sports. I want to thank everybody out there for joining us and continuing to support everything we do here at CTN. For the entire crew, including Neil Highlights Hennon and Brandon Rickard in the control room, Thomas Cornell behind the camera, I'm Joe Young saying goodnight.